Good morning. Good morning. And good morning, Zoomers out there. Happy to have you all. I'm so happy to be with you. It seems like so long since I've been here. And Bill, you have a way of always giving my talk before I get up here. So I feel so useless up here because you've already said everything I was going to say. Is it really? So I could leave right now? Yes, I will try to put it in a different way. Yeah, so it's all about being happy. And there's so many things to be happy about, aren't there? So many things for us to celebrate. Just like last Sunday we were celebrating Mother's Day. Anybody celebrate Mother's Day here? Whether you're a mother or not, we're all pregnant with possibilities, right? So we're all technically mothers of something. So, and I heard someone say that a good mom is someone who lets the kids lick the beaters. A great mom is one who turns them off first. So I don't know where that puts any of us, but there's more things to celebrate today. This is a very special day. You probably know what's going to happen tonight. Anybody? Yeah. An eclipse. Actually, it's see if I can read this here, a total lunar eclipse, and it's also a super flower blood moon. Now, I didn't know what that meant. I had to look that up. I had to Google that. And excuse me. And that means when you have a full moon and a super moon and an eclipse all at the same time, you have a super flower blood moon. I don't get it. But anyway, if the fog lifts and the weather's good, I hope you'll all get out there tonight and check that out. It should be spectacular. And if that doesn't excite you, this is also National Chocolate Chip Day. Is that better? You like that better? Okay. We have our priorities, don't we? Marianne Williamson once said that children are happy because they don't have a file in their mind called all things that could go wrong. How many of us have that file sometimes in our mind? It's called Murphy's Law. We jump right into Murphy's Law. We think, this is going to happen, or we just always look at that instead of considering the slight possibility that everything could just go right today. Everything could be so wonderful and I could just be happy all day. We always have to find something that maybe is going to go wrong today. So I'm going to be talking about happiness today. And as Bill said, I'm basing it on a book called Happier Than God. Now you might say, was God not happy? Is it something I did? Is it all about me? Well, anyway, it's a small book that Neil wrote a few years back. And he does list 17 ways to be happier than God. So I'm going to be going through those. Now I see a little bit of worry on your faces, 17 things. That means we're going to be here till Thursday. Well, some of them are short. Some of them are common sense. Some of them we can just probably skip right over and we'll go more in depth in a couple of them. So no worries. We'll be out of here no later than noon Monday. So happiness, as Bill said, happiness is a choice, and so is worry. I know sometimes we don't believe that we have a choice. We think that all these things that are happening on the world, we have to worry about them. They're terrible, aren't they? And they are. There are some dark things happening, but we have a choice as to whether we're going to focus on them and worry and think, gee, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if they don't happen? Then we wasted all that time worrying when we could have just been happy. Now, I want to have a little disclaimer here. I'm not talking about depression. When I say that happiness is a choice, there are, of course, if someone is really depressed, they can't just have happy thoughts and get over it. It's really important that we have compassion for people that are truly clinically depressed because they really need compassionate care. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those of us who are not depressed and who just choose to look at all the bad stuff and worry. We love to worry sometimes. So how do we stay happy? Well, for one thing, we surround ourselves with cheerful friends, happy friends, right? That's why we come to places like this, because I can look out there and see happy faces. And when we're around grouches, remember Oscar the Grouch? Anybody know who Oscar the Grouch is? You'd have to watch Sesame Street, and you're probably not doing that. But anyway, when we're around grouchy people, it kind of brings us down. It's not fun to be around people that are always down and always finding things that are going to go wrong. Worry makes wrinkles. Did you know that? And I don't mean just on your clothes. I mean right smack dab in the middle of your face, wrinkles. Now, if you have a skincare product company, that's good news, right? You're going to be happy about that because people got wrinkles. They're going to buy your skincare products. But other than that, we probably don't want wrinkles on our face. We'd rather have those little crinkly lines that are smile lines. I guess those are smile lines, right? So anyway, there's no point in worrying about anything because things happen if we have continued to focus on them and worry about them. So if we'd stop worrying, maybe they wouldn't happen. Some days, well, anyway, someone once said, there's only two things we have to worry about, whether we're rich or whether we're poor. Now, if you're rich, got nothing to worry about. If you're poor, there's only two things you have to worry about, whether you're healthy or whether you're sick. If you're healthy, you don't have anything to worry about. But if you're sick, there's only two things to worry about, whether you live or whether you die. If you live, you got no worries. If you die, it's only two things to worry about, right? Whether you go or whether you go. If you go up, nothing to worry about. If you go down, you're going to be so busy rejoining your old friends that you're not going to have time to worry. So really, some days you're the dog, some days you're the hydrant, get over it. We don't have to worry. So yes, I'm going to focus on this book. Let's see where I am here. A lot of the things in this book are really no-brainers. I mean, they do require maybe 3 active brain cells, but they're common sense ways to be happy. So let's take a look at some of those ways. The first one is to bring an end to separation theology. Y'all know what that is? It's when we think that we are separate from God. When we think that God is up there, he is an old man with long hair. He never gets perms or anything, but long hair. He wears a long robe and sandals. And if we do something good, he pats us on the head and rewards us, right? If we do something bad, well, he gets retribution. That's called separation. And we think that we're down here and we are sinners. And we're doing whatever sinners do, which is sin, I guess, which is simply to miss the mark. We don't do everything perfectly. That is an old concept that many of us have been given. Maybe growing up, you learned something similar to that God is up there, we are down here. And yet, I think most people are waking up, most people in communities like this, we're waking up to the understanding that it isn't up there and down here. We are all one. We are one with God. We are parts of God. We are, my boss likes to say, individuations of divinity, every one of us. And so when we can stop believing that there is something separate about us and really embrace our oneness with God, we can be much happier. The second way is to stay in touch with who you are. A lot of people really identify with their physical bodies. They think they are their bodies. But we know we're not our bodies. We are whatever animates the body. We are traveling around in these bodies. We're the soul that travels in these bodies, much like these bodies might be traveling around in, say, a Ford Edsel. Remember Ford Edsels? Of course, those cars had to be reincarnated into something better, probably a Toyota Prius, I think, right? That's my theory anyway. So yeah, we're not the physical body. We're a soul. We are part of God, and we're a spiritual being. So when we can remember that and maybe take our focus away from our physical body, we have to take care of our physical bodies, don't we? But we can do that in such a way that we just know that we're being taken care of. If we focus, if we really have our thoughts in the right place, a lot of our physical issues can just kind of float away, really. Okay, the third one is to give others the experience you seek. The fastest way to have any experience is to give someone else that experience. If you want to be happy, make other people happy. If you want to be more abundant, help someone else to be more abundant. If you want to be more peaceful, help others to feel peaceful. And I'm sure if you happen to love being miserable, you can make others feel miserable, but then that might make you happy. It's very confusing, I know. But whatever it is you want, help other people to feel that too, because really, we all want the same things in life, don't we? We want to be happy. That's all we really want. We want to be safe and happy and peaceful. So let's share that with others. Number 4, be clear that nothing you see is real. We live in a world of illusion, and we're the ones that are creating the illusion, right? We're creating all of it. A lot of times we like to blame somebody else for what we just created, but everything is made of energy. Energy is malleable. It's malleable to our thoughts, to our words, to our intentions, to our actions. And we can change that at any time, because energy is also, everything we create is ephemeral. It doesn't stay forever. It comes, it goes. Energy is totally, we can manipulate it to what we want. And we do that with the powers of thought and word and all of that. So if we don't like what we've created, we can just uncreate it. We can redo it. We can recreate it into something even better. Step 5, decide that you are not your story. Don't we love our stories? Oh my gosh, he did this to me 40 years ago, and that's why I'm not going to trust anybody else. She did something to me last week, and so I'm not going to speak to her anymore. My parents did that, and that's why I'm this way. We loved our stories. And I know many people, and not that I haven't done it, I've done it some too. We tell our story to everyone that we come across. I had a friend of mine, and I know she had she's not these friends here. She's someone in a whole nother state, the other coast, the West Coast. And she's a person who had a very rough childhood. A lot of horrible things happened to her. And when I got to know her a few years back, she was doing a lot of healing work and was getting much better. But I noticed that anytime we were with people that she didn't know, she always told them her story about her childhood, all the things that happened to her. But she would always end that story by saying, but it's okay, I'm over it now. Well, if we're saying, if it's really okay and we're really over it, we wouldn't even think to tell that story, because it's the past. Our mind doesn't know the difference between the past and the present. Yeah. So anyway, if you're still holding on to a story, and many of us are, maybe all of us are, and if you still feel drawn to tell that story, just notice that. And decide, maybe it's time for me to let go of that story, because that's the past. We are creating a new story, each one of us, every day. We can create who we want to be today. We can continue to be a better form of who we were yesterday. I think Neil says, recreating your highest vision. Oh, how does he say it? Recreate the greatest version of the highest vision you ever had about who you are. And every day, recreate yourself. Okay, number 6, have only preferences. I love this one because it always reminds me of a story that Jean Houston always tells. How many know who Jean Houston is? A couple of you. She's, of course, a best-selling author. She's a world-renowned anthropologist. I know Margaret Mead lived with Jean and her husband in her later years. But anyway, she's well known in Ashland, and so I knew her when I lived in Ashland. But she, of course, gives workshops, and she always tells this story, and I love it. So there's an old man, and he's walking through this beautiful botanical garden, all kinds of gorgeous plants. He happens to be walking by this cactus, and he sees a tiny little frog on the cactus. He notices it, and he starts to continue walking, and he hears a little voice. And the little voice says, Mister, I'm trapped in a frog's body. I'm a beautiful princess, and all you have to do is kiss me, and I will fulfill all of your desires. Now, what man wouldn't love to hear that, huh? So he looks at that, and he picks the little frog up, brings it all the way up to his face, And he puts it in his pocket and walks on. And pretty soon he hears this muffled little voice, Mister, you didn't understand me. I'm trapped in a frog's body, but I'm really a beautiful princess and I will fulfill all of your desires. All you have to do is kiss me. And he gets the little frog out of his pocket and brings it up to his mouth. And he says, at my age, I'd just as soon have a talking frog. So we have preferences. Some people would prefer a princess, right? Some people prefer a talking frog. Some people prefer vanilla, some chocolate. It doesn't matter. It's okay to have preferences. It's really okay. We've probably known some people where nothing ever goes right. Nothing is ever good enough. Nothing's ever big enough or strong enough or whatever it is enough. Nothing's ever enough. And so that means that they have more than preferences. They have demands. They want things to be this way rather than embracing life as it is right now in this moment. We really need to come to a point where we can accept what life is offering right now. We can change it if we want, but to be able to accept it, we can still have our preferences. But to require things to be different means that we are needy. And need is one of God's illusions. In another book, Neil talks about the illusions of God. God is not need. And so neediness is not an aspect of God. Of course, we need air or we wouldn't be here, and food and water. But beyond that, there's nothing we need. We can accept life as it is right now and change what we need to change. Number 7, see the perfection. A lot of us are in this, what we might call, I don't like the term new age, but it's kind of a new age movement. And so often I've heard people say to someone else, if someone else has a cold or a flu, someone will say, well, what did you do to cause that? We've heard people say that. And yes, we do create our reality, but we need, oh wait, I'm talking about something different. Forget you heard what I just said. See the perfection. Okay, it's another new age phrase though. Everything is perfect. New age people like to say everything is perfect. And we can look around and say, wow, this doesn't look perfect to me. But for me, when I think of that phrase, I think it's true because I think everything is a perfect outpicturing of our thoughts, our words, our focus, our intentions. And so even though it may not be to our liking, it's perfect because it's exactly what we created. We don't have to create it, but we created it. So that makes it perfect in that aspect. And it's a part of our learning. It's a part of evolution that we are learning to see everything as something that we have contributed to and then take our focus and put it to something we would rather have. Number 8 is bypass the drama. How many of you have ever driven through Cherokee? Cherokee. There's a motel there called Drama Inn. And I have to laugh every time I see that. I mean, I know they're referring to their beautiful drama unto these hills. But when I see Drama Inn, and I think I can just imagine the drama that's going on in every room in that motel right now. In fact, every motel. We love to get into our dramas, don't we? I guess that's maybe why we always like soap operas. I mean, whoever did, she's shaking her head back there. Well, I don't like them either. But years ago, yes, as the world turns, right? Or as the stomach turns or whatever they called that. But we like drama. We like it. It doesn't help anything. Everything only has the meaning that we give it. And if we want to make it a big dramatic thing, we can do that. But we can also let go of the drama. We're creating new stories, right? The next one, number 9, understand sadness. There's a big difference between sadness and unhappiness. I know a few years back, Neil Donald Walsh, his dog died. Her name was Lady. She was a very sweet dog, and he really loved her a lot. And so he was very sad when she died, but he was also very happy that she would not be in pain anymore. And he was also happy that he was sad, because the fact that he was sad meant that he was a compassionate person. So we need to be able to embrace our sadness without necessarily going into unhappiness. We need to learn how to accommodate our sadness and hold it within our happiness, because we have to embrace life as it is, and things happen that will make us sad. So, if someone dies, feel your sadness, feel your grief, be okay with that and work through that. If someone insults you or makes you angry, be with your sadness, be with your anger, and then work through that. Because happiness, you can still be happy even when you're angry at someone, even when you're sad, all of that. Okay, next one, number 10. See, we're moving through them quickly. We're on number 10 already. Stop arguing with life. We judge everything. We love to judge everything. We judge circumstances. We judge people. We judge ourselves. We judge what someone's wearing, everything. And it's like the cookie story. And I think you probably already know the cookie story, don't you? Because that went around. You don't know about the cookie story? Okay, well, it was going around on, it was in one of the what do you call it, chicken soup of the soul things, and so everybody was hearing that. Okay, so it's in an airport. There is a woman sitting there, and she has a little bag of cookies she just bought, and a man sits down next to her. There's a chair in between them. He's there and she's here, and she puts her cookies there, and she takes a cookie and eats it, and pretty soon he reaches over and takes a cookie, and she thinks, well, that's kind of rude. So she takes another cookie, and pretty soon she notices he's taking another cookie. And this goes on for a while, and she's getting really pretty upset with this guy. How can he be so rude just to help himself without asking, So pretty soon their flights are here. They get on their respective planes, and she sits down in her seat, reaches in her bag for her book she's going to read. And she notices her bag of cookies are in there. It was actually his bag of cookies that were laying there that she was eating, and she thought they were she thought they were hers. So anyway, we judge people like that. But what is the point of that story? Let's see. I know there is a point. Okay, letting go of our judgments. It's okay to be discerning. That's a good thing. And observations, that's natural. But to judge someone, especially when you were wrong about them eating your cookies. Anyway, let go of judgments. End of story there. Number 11, drop all expectations. I'm really messing this up, aren't I? Drop all expectations. Okay. There's no such thing as should, right? We all know that. We expect things to be different. We expect things to be the way we want them to be. But maybe there's a bigger picture about why they're not the way we want them to be. So you apply for a job and you didn't get it. Maybe the bigger picture is the perfect job, even better than that one, is waiting for you to find. So he dumped you at the altar. Maybe your true love, forever, twin flame, soulmate, all those words, is waiting for you to find him or her. So, when we have expectations, we want things the way we want them, and we want them when we want them, which is now and this way. If we can just let go of all that and allow life to flow. Life is like a river. I won't make you break into song with row, row, row your boat, but really that song says a lot. Life is like a river. You go with the flow of the river, or whatever that song says. I don't remember. Okay. Number 12, have compassion for yourself. That's where I started a while ago, that you forgot everything that I said then. It's one of those things whenever you get a cold or a flu and someone says, well, what did you do to create that? We don't need to beat ourselves up. Yes, we do play a role in creating what's happening in our lives. But when someone accuses you of causing your own sickness, whether it's true or not, let go of that. We don't need that kind of guilt. We're all learning. We're all on this path of evolution. And so just let it go. Let it go. Don't worry. Be happy. Number 13, speak your truth as soon as you know it. Now, truth is kind of a touchy subject because subjective truth is really what's true for me. Doesn't mean it's the overall huge truth that starts with a capital T. There are things that are true for me. And each of you has that too. And so it's important that we be our authentic selves, that we be able to speak our truth. A lot of times we don't speak our truth, especially to our loved ones, perhaps a family member or a friend. If someone says, does this make me look fat? We're going to say, oh, no, you look great in that, even though it's like, oh, why would she wear that? We don't want to be truthful, but there's a way to say things kindly and gently and express really what's true for us. Number 14, watch the energies, catch the vibe. Aha, everything is energy, right? And as I said before, energy is malleable to our thoughts and our words and our focus and our intention. The energy that we see is called light. The energy that we hear is called sound. The energy that we sense is called feeling. And we are always sending energy out and receiving energy. It's really important that we resonate with the energy we are receiving, as well as sending out. But a lot of times we may find ourselves in a situation where we're not comfortable. Maybe you walk into, I know for me, I don't go to bars, but if I were in a bar, it's like I sense the energy and I don't feel comfortable. Or if you go to a party and maybe it's just not your kind of a party and you don't feel comfortable. Sometimes we have a tendency to say, well, I guess I can put up with this for a little while. It's really important that we really protect our own integrity, our own auric field, that we're careful about what's coming into us. Yes, we can surround ourselves with white light and violet flame and all of that. But even so, if you're in a situation that has energy that you don't resonate with, it's important for you to honor yourself and remove yourself from it. And be sure that the energy you're sending out to people is something that is healthy, is clear, does not have a lot of the darker energies in them, because we are really just always surrounded by energy. Okay, number 15 is smile. Can I see you all do that? Okay. I don't know about you. Yep, that's a good smile. Smile for no good reason. Smile deliberately. Smile even when you don't feel so well. If you meet someone on the street and they smile at you, smile back. Sometimes you can make someone's day just by giving them a smile. It uplifts us. It also creates endorphins, which is healthy, promotes health. And they may just sort of wonder what you're up to. And that's kind of fun too. This number 16 is to sing like no one is listening. And trust me, if I sing, I hope they weren't. But you cannot hold on to a rotten disposition if you're singing, especially some of the songs you've had here, especially that Amazing Grace song. That was a wonderful rendition of Amazing Grace. And the other song, I don't know the name of it, but upbeat songs like that. So sing in the shower, sing in the car. And if you have a good voice, sing in front of people. It's all good. The last one is number 17. Know what to do when things really are bad. There's always going to be times, there will occasionally be times when things really are bad, and no amount of positive thinking and affirmations is going to change that. We really just have to work our way through that. It's important not to resist it. We all know the phrase, what you resist persists. So if we fight something, we are actually giving it more energy. So when something is really bad, maybe someone has an illness that can't be alleviated, the pain can't be alleviated very easily. We have to really be able to work with it, accept it, maybe receive it, heal it if you can, but if you can't, be able to hold it, be able to embrace it, engage with it, bless it. It's important to bless it, even our illnesses, and then send it on its way. Don't focus on it. Don't keep commiserating with everybody else that has that same thing going on. That's how we really love to continue a flu, a virus, a cold, a problem we're having with a person, whatever. We commiserate with everybody else. We like to get those perks that we get when we tell someone our story, our problems, right? And that just continues it. But, we may have to be able to be with it for a while, but then let it go. The more we can let it go, the more it can heal. Because if we can't even hold it, we can't heal it. Exterior conditions do not create interior conditions unless we allow it to. So we're on a journey, and this journey has nothing to do with these wrinkled old physical bodies. This journey has to do with our souls, right? We are meant to be happy. We are created to be joyful and happy. And if we're not, it means there's something out of balance, out of harmony, out of sync. And we can help other people to be happy just by being happy ourselves, really, because it's contagious. It's the best contagious disease I've ever heard of. I want to leave you with a story about, it's another story you may have heard before, about two men. They're in the hospital. They're elderly men. There's two beds, so they're sharing this hospital room. The one man has to lie flat. He can't sit up or anything for whatever his disease is. The other man can sit up just once a day to clear his lungs. They allow him to sit up. And he happens to be next to the window of that room. And so he begins to tell the other man, they form a friendship. He begins to tell the other man all the wonderful things that's out there. You know, he's talking about the trees and the birds, children playing. There's a beautiful lake and they're playing with their little boats on there. There's lovers walking hand in hand. One day he even describes a parade that's going by, and the other man lives for that 1 hour when he can hear all about the beautiful things out there that he can't see. Well, one day the man in the bed by the window dies, and the other man, of course, is very sad about that because it's become his best friend, and it's the one that enlightens him about what's going on in the world. And so he asks the nurse if he could get permission to be in that bed so that he can see. So they move him into that bed, and one day he's able to just get up on his elbow enough to look out. And what he sees is a brick wall. And he gets really angry. And when the nurse comes in, he said, "Why would my friend make up all those lies? He just told me all those lies about the beautiful things, and there's nothing but a brick wall." And the nurse said, "Well, you know, I think he was just trying to make you happy. You see, he was totally blind." And so we can make people happy just by saying things that we know is going to uplift them. If we can be a happy presence in their life, that will help them to be happy. Even if we're not really seeing all that we say we're seeing a brick wall, that's okay. That man was uplifted for those hours of each of those days. And so I encourage all of us to really think about, whenever we're feeling really down, what is a way that you can bring yourself up again, to raise your vibration up? Think of something happy. Think of a happy time in your life. Do whatever you can to bring yourself back into that balance, that harmony of happiness, because happiness is who we are, right? So don't worry. Be happy. Thank you.